Welcome to Pinoy Wheel. My name is Katrina Sibilia, and today is another exciting and unique episode brought to you by Pinoy Wheel. You know what? I feel so inspired and honored to introduce you to our very special and inspiring guest this very day. She is no other than Kelly Baader. Kelly is a renowned digital sales and marketing strategist, certified business coach, mentor to emerging entrepreneurs, keynote speaker, host of Christian CEO podcast, author of an Amazon bestseller, A Little Girl Called Grace, and the founder of the Christian CEO University. Kelly, welcome to Pinoy Wheel.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly. Earlier, just before I started the recording, Kelly and I were chatting about how we got connected to each other. And of course, I would like to give credit to my husband for helping me out. Indeed, it's true what they say that your life partner is the best partner that you can have for your business. So anyway, I would like to tell you, Kelly, that I am blessed to have you on Pinoy Wheel. Your story is a beautiful example of God's amazing grace in people's lives. I watched your story and interview online, as well as your recent TEDx talk in Basel, Switzerland. And I must say, your story is very inspirational and life-changing. Now, for those who do not know you, can you bring us back to your life story as a child up until you reach your challenging corporate career?
Okay, so I was born and raised at a time at a place when baby girls were not valued much. We were just seen as a future baby production machine. No need to invest as anything, especially education. So growing up, fortunately and unfortunately, went through probably like over 1.5 decades of my life with the family violence and sexual abuse. And so that is part of the reason why, later on that I really, I'm passionate about to help, female leaders to really rise up. And through those years, then after I graduated from university, and I had to actually work both summer vacation and winter vacation in order to pay my own tuition. And that's where the first introduction for me for the anything sales-based job. And we are talking about, I have sold so many things like newspaper subscription, vacuum cleaners, and door-to-door knocking, and have those experience of chasing by the dog, or people, kind of just put the water on your face. They try to chase you away. So a lot of people ask me nowadays that why you are so great at the sales and be really authentic, is not that kind of cheesy or pressure sales. I say, well, I guess those experience does work. Later on, when I was in corporate world, I basically climbed a ladder from the clerk all the way to become a director of sales executive in the hospitality industries. And in the middle of it, I think Katarina talked about the situation is those time that is quite heavy on, kind of discriminated females. I was one of the youngest and worst, the female leaders. And I have those time when I went to the board meeting or go to the high level or conference. We are talking about that during the coffee break, and I want to go to the ladies' room, and I asked the host to say, "Hey, where's the ladies' room? I couldn't find it." And he kind of just scratched his head, and he realized that he said, Well, actually, we don't have the ladies' room on this executive floor. You are the first woman came to this floor, have a meeting. And it reminded me that there's actually a very well-known movie from US called, I think, Hidden Figures. Basically, is behind the scene, the heroes, they behind the NASA launch, the whole project, and the key character, uh, Catherine, that she had to run blocks away in order to go to ladies' room. So, that kind of thing is not that far away just yet. And so that is, as you say, is kind of a snapshot of the journey up till my formal life, the corporate world.
Wow. That was an amazing story, Kelly. Now, as a child who was experiencing emotional distress from all sorts of childhood struggles that you went through, where did you get your motivation to pursue your studies that actually led your career in the corporate world?
Well, I think, I wasn't raised in the Christian family. Actually, I was the first, well, I still am, the first Christian in our family. So I had to fight to become a Christian, actually. My mother, she's a single mom. My mom, that she, very typical like Asian countries, they worship everything and they accept you worship anything. But the moment I say, hey, after I become a Christian, I wouldn't be able to help her to worship all other gods. And the worst thing is I wouldn't take the insect to worship, the wood board inside the home, those ancestors' name on the board. And my mom was very angry because she said, so you meant after I die, my name's on it, but you wouldn't worship me. And so she literally disowned me, keep me out of the house, keep me out of the apartment, and because I want to get baptized. So, but to answer your question, before that, went through all those trauma, I knew that the system then, in Asia then, it's really education is my way out. As at least I thought, I thought if I want to later on have a better job, and then be able to independent, I would need to have a higher education. And so I did not know God just yet, but I would say God already sowed a seed early on. We relocate a lot with my mom, and there was a period of time, I think I was still in primary school, and my mom was working outside a home and hardly home. But there was a neighbor, a couple, Christian couple. They live one floor below us, and they often invited me and my younger brother to have a cookies after school. I think they figured that we are kind of parent at home, and so I enjoy the most is those times, like after the school, and then go to neighbors, the auntie and uncle, their home. I did not know about Christianity at all. I just remember that before we eat a cookie, we need to pray. They will lead us in prayer, and on their wall there is a last meal, that painting, the Jesus with the 12 disciples. I mean, now I recall, I know what that is, but when I was little, I did not know what that is. And for me, what difference is, I feel like every time I enter to their home, there's such a difference. It's a feel that's so calm and peaceful that is unspeakable, that I did not know what's that. And but I did not become a Christian way later, nearly when I was 30 years old. So to answer the question, the motivation, I think, is really probably God instilled in me when I early on, that fighting, the spirit to fight for the future, and know that I cannot depend on anybody. I really need to, in order to get out of that chaotic environment, I need to study.
Right. Wow. So from the start, as a child, you were really the one looking for answers, searching for motivation for yourself. That's why that kept you going and focusing on your studies. Is that correct?
I actually don't know. I would love to say that I was so smart, so skillful, think forward as a little kid. I don't know. I just had the desire to say, okay, my upper two generations, they did not have the good marriages at all, and then with all these alcohol and gambling around, and I guess I just thought, you know, I won't be out. I want out from that situation. And that moment, I saw the first step is I need to somehow get out of the place and to live a better life. Then, so I need to study. So that means I need to pass exams to get to the university. So that was the motivation.
Right. Thank you, Kelly. Now, do you think that as a child, you've always been a high performer at school or whatever you do?
Not so bad, actually. I did not think of that, actually. Yeah, I was. I was either number one or number two in the class. And it's interesting though, because normally a lot of Asian parents, would tell their kids that make sure they study. But my mom never told me that. I guess she was just so occupied with the life, with the burden, the chaotic that she was involving. I remember I would took, after you got awarded by the principal or by the teachers, have those in that kind of paper. And I remember when I brought it home, every single time I will bring it to my mom's room, and because she work the shift is very different. So normally, when she came home, it's like very late. So I will just put on her above her dresser. But the thing is, what I feel very discouraged is she never say the next day that paper will come back to my room. There's hardly have say, oh, good job or things like that. So yeah, I would say not so bad, pretty self-driven. It's just probably the goal. That's the way I want to go. So regardless, I need to get there.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. So now that we learned about your humble beginnings, let's go to your entrepreneurial journey. So what sparked your transition from someone working in the male or a dominated corporate career to now an entrepreneur, speaker, and writer?
My transition from the corporate life to as a corporate executive to entrepreneur, I would like to say I was so smart and I planned it out, and which would be a lie. And it was because of after I got married with my Swiss husband, and we both, he was in Taiwan, that's where I was from. We were both executive, and the thing is, we knew that, okay, we're gonna have kids, and we don't like the idea of that other people raise our kids. Meaning, you hire nanny or things, but for us, that's different. So we want to have one parent stay at home. And therefore, we decided that's me, I stay at home. And then because of that, he also was in the luxury hospitality brands and relocating quite a bit. We relocate over 4 continents and, in the last 17, 18 years. And for me, that time I become stay-at-home mom, I just feel too boring. So I need to do something. And that's how I transit from, I utilize my offline skills in sales and marketing, transit to online. So I came online very early, kind of before the first step on the internet thing is like before Google happened. So it's pretty early, and then gradually, because of my love for the people, and I thought, okay, so I really love to be a coach and consultant for business. I got myself certified with ICF, which is the International Coach Federation, and also later on with John Maxwell team. They reach out when we live in Vegas. They have their first batch of coaching and speakers certification. Then I got myself certified as well. And so that's how all got started.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about your book entitled A Little Girl Called Grace. So it is actually based on your own true to life story and was published in 2012. So what was your best experience during the process of writing and publishing the book?
Best experience. I'm not so sure I have a best experience on that journey. Now, don't get me wrong. It's exciting nowadays when I have a book to easily to share, especially a lot when the people I know, the right person, they need encouragement. So what I meant is that was a difficult journey. What I meant is, especially it's a personal story. So I did not take initiative to write it. It's really that God told me that you need to write your book. And I had a big struggle with it, because meaning that I gonna feel totally naked out there. As people know all the brokenness, all the failures, all the painful experience I had. And not only that, I also concerned about, is that okay if I share that, what gonna happen to my families? And before I wrote that book, I thought I already got healed of all the situations, but not so. And that's why God asked me to write, because he really want me to get totally healed. And through the writing, and later on, quote to quote words, have to promote for it. And I remember when the first box of books from Amazon arrived in our home. That time we live in Vegas. My family members, they're all excited, say, "Oh, Mom, my kids, Mom, books are here." But I did not dare to open a box for a week. I did not open that box because I kind of just feel like, so it's a very complex feeling of my life is in that book. And it's also is not so, all the difficult experiences in that book.
Right.
And later on, that's the first layer is to write a book. Second layer is to produce that book, go to each single detail of the story. The third stage is when I need to go out there and I share the story with other podcasters, or that moment, actually, those in 2012, podcast is not so popular just yet. So actually I went to New York after the 3 months of a media training, go to pitch different major network and news and magazines, including Oprah Winfrey Network, all the magazine and stuff, and to try to get an interview on those the mainstream medias. And that was painful, because now I have to kind of speak to those people about my journey. But it's through that God started to show me, say, now you can say you are healed, because it's kind of peel the layers of the onion. And until then, that I probably just kind of shuffle the thing under the rug, did not really get delivered from those pain. And so that's why you call A Little Girl Grace. The book name actually is from God gave me. It's from the grace of God.
It's really by the grace of God. So I can just imagine how difficult it was for you that time to, do those steps that God called you to do, from writing and publishing and going out, start telling people. It must be hard because it's your own life story. But on the other hand, I think I see it as also a learning experience, or like when you follow God with what he ask you to do, then you are healed, and that there are greater things that he prepared for you.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so Kelly, can you tell us also more about Christian CO University? I really have to be honest that when I read about it on your profile, I really became curious about it. First, because I am a born again Christian myself, and second, it is truly a very interesting niche.
Yeah, well, it's this is part of my own entrepreneurial journey. I mean, when I started, I did not purposely just focus on Christians only, although actually a lot of Christians just attracted by me, I guess because we are same spiritual DNA, even without I preach a word, right? And but in the I would say, while we still live in Vegas before we move out, and one day on my birthday, November early morning, I have a little ritual on my birthday. I take communion with the Lord. And so I prepared the elements, I prepared the Bible. I was standing in front of the kitchen counter. And suddenly, I feel a strong presence behind me. So I thought, okay, that must be my husband, came downstairs to say happy birthday. The presence was so real, so I turned around. Well, there was no one standing there, but the presence still there. So I knew I'm in big trouble, quote unquote, big trouble. And then I heard the audible voice, happy birthday, Kelly. And I say, thank you, Father. And when I say that, it seems as if somebody take a spray painting, the foggy spray painting, like a pen around my kitchen, that I saw that I couldn't say anything, just see fog. And the presence was so heavy and real. Our only thing I can see is my Bible. What he about to say the next, I wasn't prepared for it. And he said, what do you want for your birthday? 3 weeks before that, my family, which my two kids they were just like a toddler age. So we tried to teach them about the lesson of faith. We wrote a letter together to God. Inside there are all different kind of items that we wish God will, help us out. All the way from kids, their toy and whatever they're gonna write down there, you can imagine. But the biggest item for us is my mother's salvation. Remember, is that woman keep me out of the house because I want to get baptized. And so when he asked, what do you want for your birthday? I right away thought of that list that, for that later. But I kept for a moment thought, if this is the only time in my life I can answer that question, I might want to wait, or I might want to think twice. So I say, well, Father, you say in the Bible that there is no respecter of a person. So if you can give the wisdom to Solomon, then I would like that wisdom as well for my birthday, and so as for my children. And I sense he has big grin on his face, and he say, of course, you ask, you have it. By the way, those things on my letter also is granted. Within 2 weeks or so, and every single items on that list came to pass, especially my mother's salvation. So that was the biggest miracle for me personally. And now we back to the birthday. He asked me, but Kelly, I have one thing for you to do. Can you help me something? Without thinking too much, I just said, yeah, of course. I mean, the problem is, yeah, of course, the words go out, I right away regret. Because I thought, what did I just get myself into? I don't know what God will say. He said, after this place, which is Vegas then, you guys will say one place to go. We did not know we're going to relocate again. And before you go home is Switzerland because my husband is Swiss. After you go home, I want you to feed my sheep in the marketplace. And That is how Christian CEO University born. Because I think what God told me is, Kelly, a lot of my children, they did not know how to excel in the marketplace. They use the same mindset of how they operate within the wall, meaning inside the church. And then they try to use the same mindset and same perspective to walk in the marketplace. And they were spinning around the mountain. They haven't found a way to go up to the hills. And because of how I got saved, and also I was actually part of founding member of a local church. So I have both experience inside and outside. But my really true calling is outside the religion's mountain. And so that's what Christian CEO University about. It's for those Christian entrepreneurs, they probably just get started and they want to be inside the community to learn the skills, but more important also at the same time, how to really align your business with God's voice. Because if you don't follow what God called you to do in the consistently base, that we know that whatever you build, it will not create the impact that He desires you to have as well. So that is, I hope that's your answer.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly. Now, do you have any biblical principles that you can share to all Christian entrepreneurs out there, whether they are just starting up or already doing something that can help them achieve success and make them victorious in their entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that's a big question because obviously there's a lot of biblical principle, but I'm just gonna keep it simple that if you happen to watch the video, you can see our screen behind me, there's a logo in the behind called One. The Power of One framework is directly downloaded from heaven. Actually, before I spoke on Chris Ducker's stage in 2018, November, and he wanted me to share one idea, and I did not know which idea to share, and God downloaded that Power One framework. So no matter which stage of your business, that I think there's two entrepreneurial disease, I call them. One is a comparison game, and one is a formal, like fear of missing out. And that will get you just kind of continue running around and not focus on the thing that God called you to do. So I want you to think of Power One framework is what is your number one client, who is your number one client, that you can provide the number one solution and give them the number one outcome they need by the best current version of you. So it's 1, 1, 1, 1. I want you to think about the three circles. A lot of people say, how can I stand out in the marketplace? The first circle is inside is the inventory of your expertise and skills, but also your personal history, the good and the bad and ugly, your experience. The second circle is you had to do market research. What is your tribe at the moment are looking for? The third circle is based on this, what is that solution you can provide? When these three circles collide together in the middle part of it, that is your unique positioning. And that positioning will create your market of one and your own blue ocean, because nobody can compare with your own experience, and no matter, again, good or bad, ugly, and your skill set mixture of what you can provide for that tribe that God destined to you have. So do this, then it's a true shortcut.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. That's such a helpful information to every one of us who are, whether they're just starting up or doing already something in their, business or entrepreneurial endeavors. So let's go to a little bit fun question, like when you have a free time, what's your favorite thing to do?
Favorite thing, I think, well, free time, when I don't have to do anything, I love traveling, but at the moment we cannot travel much. Our family, we love to eat. We love eating good food. I also love working out as well to keep myself fit and energized to serve.
Right. Okay, good. Now, do you have any favorite personal development book or books that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, before this podcast, last hour I got interviewed by another podcast and asked the same question. And it's always difficult for me because I read so many books, and really depends on the stage of where my mind is. And for the sake of for you guys out there, I think there's a couple of books if you haven't read yet. One is probably the Essentialism, so to keep you really focused. The other one is a new one called Fix This Nest, because I'm also the advisor for Mike McCullough's. He's an author of the Profit First, and his new book called Fix This Nest. Because for business owners, a lot of time, if you are not clear what you should be fixing next, that it's very difficult for you to grow. So yeah, so check that out as well.
Yes, thank you. We'll definitely check out that book. Now, Kelly, I'm super grateful for having you at this very moment and sharing your personal narrative from oppression to victory. It is my privilege to personally interview you. So what is your final message to all individuals listening now or watching this video who are maybe going through something in their lives at this point in time?
Okay, so if you are in the middle of challenging time, everybody is a bit different, right? So I won't tell you, say, oh, just try to think positive and that kind of thing. That would be a very shallow and lie. What I want to encourage you is take a step back, and I want you to imagine that when you are looking at the situation when you are really close to it, versus if you take a high chair, and you standing above the chair, and you look down the same item, right? Then that item becomes smaller, right? So that's what I meant to take a step back. The skill you be able to zoom in and zoom out is essential. Meaning whether you want to zoom in to see a tree or you need to zoom out to see the whole forest. If you are in the middle of challenging time, oftentimes we are so focused on the tree. But if you can step back and to say, okay, I know this is real. Yes, what I'm building this now. So what is this look in the bigger picture? And sometimes they will help you also don't lose the precious relationship around you. Otherwise, it's often that when we are so focused on just to fix that current problem, and we ignore the people who are actually supporting us around us or other perspective. So I would say, to answer a question, if you are personal faith, obviously you turn to God. If you are not, then I will ask you to really exercise this, zoom in and zoom out.
A big thanks to you, Kelly. Now, how can we get in touch with you?
Everywhere in social media, pretty much is Kelly Baader, the handle. If you like to actually access to that free masterclass or actually live presentation on Chris Ducker's stage, the Power One framework, just go to kellybaader.com/learn. Then you'll be access to the presentation.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelly. And it's been a great and wonderful time spending with you in this interview.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And that's our special guest, Kelly Baader. Now, to all our viewers and listeners, what do you think about this interview? I hope you get more inspiration from our guest today. Please share your comments down below and like this video To watch all Pinoy Wheel interviews, go to www.pinoywheel.com/interviews/. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.